All right, let's jump in. So welcome to this month's virtual owner meetup. This session will also be recorded and shared for you to view at your convenience. I'm Maddie Bourgeois, the Director of Communications and Spokesperson for RVshare, and I'll be today's host. Today's meetup is all about optimizing your listing for success. Our most asked question during these webinars is, how do I attract more bookings? We are joined today by RVshare's rental coach, Lauren. Lauren helps owners improve their listings in one-on-one consultations. Today, we are going to have her walk through all of her best tips and recommendations for making sure your listing grabs a renter's attention. So let's get into it. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, I'm really excited to be here. My name is Lauren, and I have been an RVshare employee for about 4 years now. I'm on the customer success team, and I am an account manager there. So I oversee the states of Arizona, Tennessee, Mississippi, New York, Wisconsin, and then parts of Florida, California, and Texas. One of my main goals is just to kind of help owners increase their performance and maximize their profits while renting through us. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and to share some top tips with everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So those who are joining, we'll get into a discussion portion. You can ask any questions you want in the Q&A, and we'll be sure to answer those by the end of the session, where we'll hold a Q&A portion. But first, let's get into our conversation. And as part of that today, we will cover what it takes to create a great listing and provide high quality renter experience, as well as how to utilize your metrics to maximize success. So creating a great listing is the first step to your success on RVshare. The more comprehensive the listing, the higher listing will appear in results when a renter does a search on RVshare.com. This puts your RV in front of more people and ultimately gets you more bookings. So there are several parts of creating a listing, and that you can add it at any time in your dashboard. But what are those 5 critical parts, Lauren?
Sure. The first would be, I would say, probably the title and description. The title of the RV is super important. You want to make sure that you're capturing your renter's attention right off the bat. RV make and model titles are pretty forgettable. They are used really often on the website, so it's not really grabbing the renter's attention. You can use words like bunkhouse or family friendly, pet friendly, fully stocked, anything like that to kind of get the renter to look at your RV and remember yours over the competition. Along with that would be, I would think, description. The description of the RV is really where you want to sell your RV to the renters. You can tell them all about it, what's so great about it. In the description, you can put things like what's included, the size of the beds, is there anywhere that your RV should not go? With this, you want to make sure you're staying organized as well. So bullet points or smaller paragraphs really help kind of keep things moving on that. Other than title and description, I would say photos. When you are taking your photos, you want to make sure that they're bright and clear. If you can stage them, that's great. There's some examples there of good photos and not so good photos. So obviously the one with the bed, you don't really want to stay in something like that, but make sure when you're taking your photos, they're horizontal or landscape orientation. That's the best way to kind of get them to upload onto the site. And then listings with 20 or more photos typically get about 80% more reservations. So all angles of the RV, inside and outside, anything that you can convert like a dinette, those are all really great photos to add. Next would be your add-ons and upsells. So add-ons are required for each renter. So typically people utilize like cleaning fees or the owner's fee that you see on that add-on. You don't want to go over 3 add-on fees. You don't want to overwhelm renters or maybe deter them from wanting to rent with you if it just gets a little confusing. Upsells are things that would be optional upgrades, additional amenities or services that are not typically offered with reservations, but are available for a fee. So pet fees, dumping fees, portable dump stations, those are all some good upsells you can add on if they are available. The next one would be rates. You want to make sure that you're researching the area to kind of get an idea of what your competition is charging. Consider everything that you're offering with your RV for this price, and what add-ons you might roll in to that nightly rate. Your account manager can also help you out with this, and we can talk a little bit more about that later. And then the last one would be your delivery fee. This service is definitely on the rise. More and more renters are requesting delivery services. With your delivery, you want to make sure that you're considering all the time that it takes, the effort, the mileage that you're putting in for the 2 round trips to drop off and pick up, gas prices, if you need anyone to help you out. And again, your account manager can definitely help you out with the pricing for this.
Cool. And I have one follow-up question for you, Lauren. So on the photos portion, there was the good photos showed a layout of the RV. Do we see that that works well when people can see kind of that blueprint of the RV?
Yes.
And also when you say good photos too, do you think when they're staged, or what if they have people in the photos?
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that they are staged with that landscape photo. The layout photo. It definitely helps the renter kind of visualize where everything is and kind of piece together all the photos that you have on your listing. Adding people into your listing photos, it's not really necessary. It kind of distracts from the RV and what you're actually trying to sell. So you definitely don't want any people in the photos.
Cool. So moving on to after you have a great listing, it's time to shift your focus on the renter experience. So what advice for owners do you have to make sure renters are getting the best care when booking their rental? Or better yet, what are the renters' expectation and how can owners meet them?
Yeah, having a great renter experience is really critical. We want those renters to come back to the site and hopefully to your RV so you have repeat renters. Some good ways to do that would be having good communication. This starts before you even have a confirmed reservation. The quicker you're able to reply, the more likely you are able to secure that booking. This also will boost your placement in the search results and it builds trust with renters. The next one I would say is definitely flexibility. Offering delivery with flexible times or having flexible pickup and drop off times. Those are all great things that will kind of show the renter that you are a little bit flexible and can help them out. Allowing pets, obviously the more flexible that you are, the more renters that you're able to accommodate or attract to your booking. Another thing is just making sure that it's an easy process. Your renter really shouldn't have to jump through hoops to try to find information or secure a booking. Having instant book turned on is definitely the easiest way to book an RV, but you want to make sure that your listing and your calendar are up to date, even if your instant book is not turned on. And then obviously just building that trust, speaking with respect to your renters, trying not to cancel reservations, keeping your calendar up to date, responding quickly and efficiently. These are all things that show the renter that you're a good owner to work with.
Let's cover performance metrics in the owner dashboard. So where can owners find these and utilize them to improve their listing?
Yeah, you can view these anytime in your dashboard. They're updated in real time based on your interactions with your customers, and they also help determine where you're placed in those search results. There are a few key ones that you want to keep track of. Obviously, all are super important. Your response time and your response rate is super important. Renters want to work with responsive owners. You are 2 times more likely to get a booking by being responsive. The expiration rate, you obviously never want to let requests expire. These renters are entering their credit card information. They're trying to book your RV. So if you're unable to accommodate, you want to make sure you decline as quickly as possible so that their card cannot be charged and that they can move on to the next option. You also want to make sure that your calendar is updated, your description's updated so that renters know when it is or is not available, and it kind of helps cut down on those unnecessary requests. The cancellation rate, obviously, again, keeping your calendar and your rates up to date help avoid those cancellations. So if the renter needs to cancel, you can go ahead and let them cancel. If you're canceling on their behalf, it is hurting your metrics. If you wanted to offer a refund or something, you can always reach out to our support team, but we will follow your cancellation policy otherwise. And then obviously your acceptance rate, it should never be 0%. If it is, maybe this is not the right path for you. You want to accept as many reservations as possible. So it really shouldn't be 0%. And if it is, or if you're having trouble with that, you can always reach out to your account manager.
Great. So now we'll move into our Q&A portion. We've been asked in the past to really devote some time to this. So let's get into it. Why does RVshare take a percentage of delivery fees? And I see in our Q&A, live Q&A, that people are also asking about those additional fees for the things that you covered, like bedding or delivery, et cetera. So I think that all falls in a similar bucket. RVshare does take commission out of all of those, but if you could cover off on that and explain why, that'd be great.
Yeah, this is an industry standard. So charging commission on owner's fees ensures that the marketplace is balanced. Obviously, we have a responsibility to make sure that our owners aren't nickel and diming our renters with a ton of extra fees or kind of baiting and switching them, like offering a low nightly rate and then adding a ton of extra fees that they have to pay on the back end. Obviously, that's not a great renter experience. So the commission that you pay on pre-trip fees, like delivery or prep linen packages, that is set to what your commission rate is.
Next question is how to best maximize bookings.
Yeah, so obviously you want to make sure you're hitting your performance metrics goals. You will definitely move up in sort order against your competitors and attract more renters the more active and responsive that you are. Just like Google, the higher that you rank in the search results page, the more likely that renters will see and book your RV. The algorithm that we utilize, its job is to find the best possible matches. So it's constantly adjusting and learning from the owner's behavior and what the renter is actually looking for.
Okay, next question is how to prevent scammers or folks that will damage their RVs. So when a request comes through, is there a way to kind of vet these renters themselves?
Yeah, you definitely want to ask a lot of questions like why are they picking your RV? Where are they going? Do they have any special requests or things that maybe they'll need based on their campsites? You can make sure that their ID verification and insurance and protection procedures are all complete during the reservation or before the reservation takes place. You can do that in your reservation detail section. Obviously, you want to keep all your communication and payments through the dashboard that ensures for a safe rental. And then verify the renter's ID when you hand off your RV to them to make sure that that is really who is renting your RV.
How do your performance metrics benefit the smaller operators? This owner is asking if they only have 1 or 2 units and they're operators with 40 plus units, how did they get noticed with just 1 unit?
Yeah, smaller operations actually are the majority of the owners on the site. So obviously with larger operations, they have more units, it comes more responsibility, more work to replying to the messages that they get in a timely manner. Smaller operations typically can reply quicker, and they also usually offer more of like a small business feel compared to those larger operations. So renters want to come back and book with them again.
Next question is about going back to photography. We obviously touched on the need for having lots of photos and lots of great photos. I would guess the majority of our listings, it's probably, people that take them themselves. But should they consider hiring a professional photographer to take their listing photos?
You can, it's not necessarily necessary. Obviously, when you're taking your photos, you can think of like a hotel or an Airbnb. Basically, you can clearly imagine yourself in those pictures. They're bright, they're clean. That's exactly what renters want to see here as well. If you're having trouble with that, your account manager, they can send you over some examples of great listing photos for you to kind of mimic and hopefully get without having to hire a photographer, but you can as well if you are interested.
And then can we get a metric to measure views and clicks on our listing? Is that something that's possible to view in the dashboard today?
It is not yet. There is a place for it on that performance metrics area. It's on the radar. It's just not released quite yet.
Great. Do you recommend charging extra for linen packages, or should that be included in the rental price?
If you can, I would say roll it into your nightly rate. If you think about it again, like a hotel or vacation rental, the renters kind of have an expectation to show up with at least the basic accommodations. And again, having too many add-ons or upsells could really overwhelm and deter the renter from wanting to book with you.
Should owners always ask prospective renters to submit a review, maybe even when their RV isn't quite what they wanted or needed?
Yeah. If you are able to help a renter, even if it wasn't their perfect match, obviously you still want to ask them to review. The reviews they're based on RVs, but they're not always just about the RV. We see tons of great reviews talking about how accommodating and flexible the owners were. So it's not just about the RV, but definitely about the experience as well. You also are able to publicly respond to kind of show other renters that you are active, responsive, and professional.
What are the best things to keep in stock for guests versus what should they be prepared with?
Some of the most requested things that renters like is bedding, kitchen supplies, RV toilet paper. If you have renters flying in to book your RV, you can kind of think of like what can they not pack in their suitcase, or what do they not like maybe want to buy for just one use and then have to throw away or donate before getting back on the flight. But yeah, bedding and kitchen supplies are the most that I feel like renters request. And then RV toilet paper, I feel like is the most thing that owners offer.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip. And just to ask, your renters what their travel situation is, because it is a big difference when you're flying to a destination to RV versus picking it up in your hometown. So I think kind of having understanding of what they'll need based on that will clue you into really taking that experience to the next level.
Right.
What's the best way to educate newer renters on how to use everything in your RV?
I would say asking them a lot of questions. Obviously, you want to determine what their experience level is, what their comfort level is, and then also doing that walkthrough with them as you hand the RV off, showing them basically everything that you need to know while utilizing your RV. You are the expert, so making sure that every kind of area gets touched on with the RV and how to use it.
And then what do you think about just like renter handbooks, or do we have a template for a booklet to leave with the renter? And how do you see a lot of owners handling this and that you work with?
Yeah. A renter handbook is a really great resource to just like print out and have available for each renter. I've seen binders, I've seen just like little one sheeters or kind of notes where all of the like things to turn on and off are. We do have a renter handbook as well. It's in the owner toolkit under the managing reservations section, creating a renter handbook, that section. And I think we can drop a link to it in the chat as well.
You touched on this a bit earlier, but might as well touch on it again. Can both the renter and owner cancel a booking, and how does that affect the owner?
Yes, both can cancel. Owners should really only be canceling on behalf of themselves. They shouldn't really be canceling on behalf of renters. And really, there should only be owner cancellations when there's extenuating circumstances. So property damage, or something else that happens where they just cannot accommodate that reservation any longer. Basically, a confirmed reservation should just not be canceled by an owner. If the renter needs to cancel, and the owner is willing to give some type of refund, they can always reach out to support after the renter has canceled to authorize that refund. This will definitely help you stay on top of your metrics and make sure that cancellation rate isn't kind of blowing up.
Is there a disadvantage to requiring more than a 2-night minimum?
Even if you have your listing set to 3 or more nights, we still show them in the search results. So renters are still able to inquire about a shorter trip. There are a lot of weekend trips that are taken, but this way you aren't losing out on opportunities and being hidden if they're looking for only 2 nights.
So this particular owner says that they don't allow pets in their RV, but a lot of renters appreciate that their unit is extra clean. How can I get more bookings without offering pets and maybe showing that as like a plus side to renting with them?
Like you mentioned, if there is no pets, if there's never been pets, it's going to be a little bit cleaner. There's not going to be any pet hair anywhere. So that's always something that you can kind of promote in your description. But also, while allowing pets helps you accommodate more types of renters. Not every renter has a pet. Not every renter wants to bring their pet on the trip with them. So just keeping up with your performance metrics will definitely help you stay on top of your competition, regardless if you're able to accommodate pets or not.
And does delivery give owners a competitive advantage? They're asking if, how do you price that correctly when you're considering delivery? it's a massive commitment to offering this as a side hustle. And we do understand, and we've talked about this often, that delivery does take a lot of time out of it. But Lauren, maybe you can explain.
Yeah, it's a great way to take advantage of more bookings, more opportunities, different kinds of renters. Obviously, renters' interest in delivery has increased year over year. More owners are able to offer it. It reduces wear and tear. It kind of gives you more of a peace of mind when just dropping off the RV rather than having someone travel with it. But you can definitely work with your account manager to kind of discuss the pricing in your area. They can dig more into your specific area, what kind of delivery is happening there, to kind of give you an idea of if it's helpful and how much you should really be charging for that. And I think we can drop a link to the splash page with the all of the account managers on there, so you can find yours in the chat, I think.
Cool. So moving into some live questions, all those questions were pre-submitted. How does RVshare determine recommended pricing?
We actually use booking data for the area. So booking data based on this like area that you're in, as well as the type of RV that you have. So it's always flexing, always changing based on the data that's going on in your area.
So this is from a new owner that recently listed, and did the lack of metrics, hurt? So the lack of metrics on my RV, do they hurt me? Can I use the metrics from a listing that is currently hidden, like response time, etc.? So I think this is for a new listing, and there is like not a lot of movement on the listing quite yet.
The performance metrics actually are tied to the owner, not the individual listing itself. So as long as you're staying active and responsive, your new listing should climb up the ranks pretty quickly after listing it and getting it live.
Great. And then, do you recommend providing plastic plates and glasses, or maybe ceramic glass containers? Do you recommend plastic instead, along with proper silverware, disposable? I think they're kind of just looking to see what are the expectations of renters.
It depends owner to owner. I have owners that kind of just leave whatever they utilize themselves in their RV for their renters to take it. Obviously, with having actual like washable dishes, it is going to be a little bit more work to make sure everything is clean and prepared for the next renters. So a lot of owners will opt for like disposable units or disposable forks, plates, whatever, just to kind of have an easier cleanup and an easier setup for the next RV renter. But it's just is really owner preference.
Agree. Yeah. I went camping this past weekend actually, and I would just say as long as you're providing one or the other and something's provided, because with renting these vehicles, I mean, we're definitely looking to have, a full live-in experience, from cooking, so cooking utensils, to having something to serve up that food and eat it with. So I don't necessarily think the actual type of matters, as long as it's included in some capacity. How do you get more rentals during the slow season?
Again, going back to performance metrics, if you are staying on top of it when you're getting a lot of messages and getting a lot of bookings, it's only going to help you in the slower season. If you kind of get behind in the summer or in the busy season, summertime, it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of climb out of that in the slower season. So just really staying on top of those performance metrics while you have the messages rolling in.
Yeah, and this kind of goes along with that. So when you're talking about response time, are we looking at the response to the first message received by a renter and when that initial conversation starts, or is it response to every message they send? Obviously, sometimes those messages could be late at night, early in the morning, and you're not getting to them until later that day.
Yeah, it is the very first message, the initial message from the renter to the owner. That is the one that we are utilizing for the performance metrics. If once you guys have that conversation going, we're not really counting those messages, just that initial one.
So in your experience, Lauren, have you heard of owners using a GPS to protect from their RV getting stolen, or just the owner having a sense of where that RV is at all times?
Yeah, I have a ton of owners that utilize GPS. It definitely helps them have that peace of mind. They can kind of keep an eye on where their RV is going, and it definitely can help settle disputes, damage claims, things like that in the event that there is anything after the reservation is over. So it's just an extra layer of protection for owners.
How does RVshare do the vetting of potential renters?
So all owners and renters need to go through ID verification through RVshare. So everyone has to take a photo of the front and back of their ID along with a photo of themselves, selfie. So it runs through a bunch of different programs to make sure that this is who they say they are. It's not like a fake ID or anything like that, that it's a valid driver's license, that they are just a good actor. If anything on there is weird or they fail for any reason, whether the photos aren't clear or they just fail the background check in general, unfortunately their reservation would be canceled. So we just want to make sure that the property and the owners are being protected just as much as the renters are.
So going back to reviews, does RVshare ask for one after the rental is completed, or is it something that the owner should be requesting directly?
We do send out reminders for reviews to the renter's email, but it can never hurt to also kind of urge your renters in the inbox to leave a review as well.
Certainly. So can a renter pick up an RV in one state and drop it off in another?
That would be up to the individual owner. Those are one-way reservations. So because a lot of our owners are individual owners, you would have to make plans with the renter on how to get that RV back. And obviously that's an owner by owner basis.
Is there a difference in rate of occupancy between newer RVs versus older RV models?
A difference in
Booking.
the
Yeah.
number of reservations. Obviously, the more people that you're able to accommodate, the obviously more reservations that you're open to booking. So in any RV model, whether it's newer or older, the more people that it sleeps, the better. I don't really think it always has to do with the year of the RV, just the number of people really.
Yeah, I would say I think we do have some data that shows like newer RV models do perform a bit better. But I think that as long as you're providing a good experience with like a clean interior and it's, well maintained and things like that, and your pictures and your reviews reflect that, I agree with you, Lauren. I think it really more matters along that end of it. So what's the best way to handle requests for late checkout? Do you include this as an additional fee? Do you have a maximum time for late checkouts? I think this kind of goes back to your first tip about flexibility.
Yeah, some owners will charge a fee for early pickups or late drop-offs. You more so want to just make sure that you can handle that, like, or accommodate that request based on your calendar. So if you have another renter picking up, obviously you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to flip the RV. But I feel like a lot of owners do not charge any kind of fee for early or late drop-offs or pickups. It's just kind of like an added experience that the renters really like.
Should they add a pet cleaning fee in addition to the normal cleaning fee if someone's bringing their pet?
I do see a lot of owners doing that. Again, just an extra layer of protection with pets. A lot of times there is a little bit more of a mess than without pets, just with shedding in general. So I do see a lot of owners adding on a pet fee for when people are bringing pets.
This owner asks that there's a tax rate section in the rate section of the listing. Is there anything that they should be doing with that?
I would touch base with your account manager so they can get you any of the links that you need to kind of learn more about taxing or about taxes, but also just kind of talk to a local tax professional as well once you get that information off of RVshare.
Can an owner pause their listing, or do they have to go into the calendar and physically pick date ranges to block?
You can hide your listing, but it will require you to pick a certain range of dates to hide it for, and it will be hidden completely until that date is over. If you need to hide it for an extended period of time and you're not sure when they'll be able to be live again, you can always reach out to your account manager and they can help you with that.
And if they just want to block some dates due to like vacation or their own personal trips or something like that, you would just suggest them
the calendar. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The listing. When they do hide the listing, how does that affect any of those metrics that we mentioned earlier?
When the listing is hidden completely, so depending on, or regardless of how many days you have it hidden for, it's hidden for good. Like no matter what dates you put in, it's not going to show up. So people shouldn't be reaching out and messaging you about your listing. If you just block the calendar dates out, your listing is still live and people can still view your listing for other dates that it's not blocked, so that you still want to keep up with your messages and all your metrics. Make sure that you're responding back to everyone during those times.
The recommended rental rate seems to be on the high end from what I've noticed, or what they've noticed, especially within competition in their area for similar types of RVs. This person said they prefer to have their unit rented as much as possible, so they tend to manually price it lower. Do you think the renters may be concerned with the quality of experience when they see that lower cost provider? So, if you're pricing something lower, does that mean, a worse experience or anything to that extent?
Not necessarily. If a renter sees a lower price, they obviously get excited about that lower price. So making sure that you're giving them the best experience with that lower price and not also discounting the experience that you're giving them. That's super important because you are the one that's setting that price. That recommended pricing, if you do feel like it's high and you want to kind of come down and manually change it, that's what's so nice about it, is you can turn it on and off however many times you want. But it is using actual booking data from the area. So it's kind of interesting to see if you are leaving any money on the table based on the booking data from your area and what that pricing suggests.
Do you have any suggestions on ways to market your listing other than just on the RVshare site?
Yeah, I've had some of my owners share it on like community Facebook pages. I've seen people utilize like a QR code with their link listing and have it on either like the tire cover of their RV or the side of their RV. There's tons of ways that you can market it, but those are just a few of the most popular I've seen.
And then this person asks, how do they hide their listing?
In your dashboard, and there's one of the little tabs when you go to edit your listing will allow you to hide it. Basically, you'll hide it for a time being. But again, if you need some help with that, you can reach out to your account manager and they can walk you through it.
Great. Well, thank you, Lauren, for running through all these questions for us. You've been a wealth of information. So if everyone listening has more questions or would like to get in touch with their account manager, how would they do that?
There is a splash page. It has every account manager and what territories that they are responsible for. So that's the easiest way is to click on that link. I think we put it in the chat. And that'll take you to that page. There also is fleet managers as well. So there's stipulations about being a fleet and you can read about those on the splash page as well. But everyone's contact information is on there, whether it's their phone number or their email. And everyone's really responsive on our team. They'll get back to you and help you out with any questions that you have.
And can you give us a little bit of insight into like what those conversations with their account manager would look like and some of the things that they could help them with, similar to what you're doing for us here today?
Yeah. So here was just kind of basic tips, what we can do in a one-on-one consultation. We take a look at your actual listing. So what you already have, or what you've started if you're a new owner. And basically we'll go through each part of the listing with you. It helps a lot if you have questions ahead of time. So that way we can get obviously those answered and hopefully help you out with maybe things you didn't even know that you didn't know. But we also can pull data from your area to kind of see, again, what the competition is doing, what previous like years prior have done, just to kind of give you an idea of if it's growing, if it's not growing in your area. Also, if you're interested in finding out more about a type of RV that you want to purchase, want to add to your fleet, we can always look into data for that as well for you. Anything to kind of help you out and make you some money while you're with us.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for being here today. As we said, this session has been recorded. We will be getting that up on our YouTube page in the next few hours, and you'll be getting an email with the link so that you can view this again at your convenience. Thanks so much for joining us today. And thank you, Lauren, for all your information. We'll see you next time.
Bye.